Let's talk about solving literal equations. Literal equations are equations with multiple variables. In this first problem, 2ab equals -8, we're going to solve for b. So I need to get that b alone on one side of the equal sign. If you notice, it's being multiplied by 2a. 2a is multiplying by the b. So if I want to undo that, I'm going to divide both sides by 2a because that's the opposite of multiplying. And when I do that, you'll see that 2 divided by 2 is 1, a divided by a is 1, and all you're left with on one side of the equal sign is b. That's our goal. Over on the right-hand side, a -8 divided by 2 is going to be -4. So I've simplified that. Notice that the a is in the denominator. It can't simplify in any way. It's just going to stay in the denominator. You cannot move that up to the top in the numerator. Since it's in the bottom to start, it's right here, it's going to stay in the bottom, unless there's some way to simplify it. In this problem, there isn't one. On the next problem, we're going to solve for b again. And on that side of the equal sign, it's b minus xy, so I need to get rid of the minus xy. So I'm going to do the opposite of subtracting xy, or the inverse, which would be adding xy. I'm going to do that on both sides. And you'll notice when I do minus xy plus xy, that's going to zero out. And all I'm left with is b on the left-hand side of the equal sign. And on the right-hand side, I have 7 plus xy. They are not like terms, so they cannot be combined. So I'm just going to write it like this. And my solution for b is 7 plus xy. On the third problem, we're going to solve for y, which means we have to get rid of the 3x and the minus 2. I'm going to get rid of the 3x first because it's not attached to the y. If you notice, the -2 is right next to the y. We're going to keep it together as long as possible. So we're going to get rid of the 3x. And to get rid of a 3x, a positive 3x, we're going to do minus 3x because we're trying to zero it out. And remember that we have to do it on both sides of the equal sign. So 3x minus 3x over here, we're going to zero that out. And I'm left with, let me change the color, I'm left with -2y. And on this side, again, they're not like terms. So when I have -6 and -3x, I cannot combine them. Okay, that 6 does not have an x, so they cannot be combined. So I'm just going to write them the way they are, -6 minus 3x. From there, you'll notice I still have the -2 multiplying by the y. So the inverse of that operation is to divide. So I'm going to divide by -2. When I do that on this side, I'm left with y equals. And then I have to do it, I have to divide each term or each item by -2. And then I want you paying attention. I like to box these off. I'll just do it with highlighter for right now. So that I'm paying attention, the -6 divided by -2 is going to be a +3. And I'm going to do the same thing with the -3x divided by -2. You can divide if they're unlike terms. You can't add or subtract, but you can divide. You have a negative divided by a negative, which is a positive. And then 3/2 cannot be simplified, so it would be 3/2 x. And that would be your solution because you have the y by itself. Notice, whatever you're solving for, as long as you have it by itself, even though there's still variables in the answer, that's still your solution. And that's how you would do literal equation solving.